Hey, you guys. Hi from New Mexico. How's everybody doing? Okay, here we are on Sunday. Kind of a little do-over. Sorry again about Wednesday. But I just didn't trust what was going on. Pretty crazy, all that stuff happening on Facebook on Wednesday. So in the meantime then, Mr. Hathaway and I have flown down to New Mexico. I usually spend quite a bit of time down here with my best friend. So look on my timeline later and you can see some of the videos, the live streams that I've done from down here. He hadn't been to, sorry, I'm looking at this. Okay, wait, I want to make sure this is actually working. Yeah, okay, good. Hi, Mike. Gosh, Mike, I hope you're healing. Give me a thumbs up if you are. Hi, Eva. So give me a few hearts and a few thumbs up if you guys are here. And in the meantime, hi, Bryn. Hold on to your questions for a little bit, and then I'm going to ask for some time to do that, and then remind you also that the last Wednesday of the month, I do an open Q&A. And so that's where I want you to jot down a bunch of questions today and then bring them to that Q&A. Okay, so let me go back. So here we are in New Mexico. Mr. Hathaway got a chance to do the balloon festival, and it was just so damn much fun. I mean, really great. Then he went off on his merry way back to Portland last night, and I'll stay here for a couple more weeks and just have some fun. I've got a webinar that I'm doing with the lovely Katie Snaps, so you guys will have to check out that. I'll give you some information on that. But what we're going to do is jump back in today to the topic of dating is not a relationship. And when I chatted with you on Wednesday just for a few minutes, I gave you just a little food for thought and a tiny bit of homework that just said, hey, why don't you guys get to work on starting a requirements list? Told you a little bit about what that was, difference between wants, needs, and requirements. And so if any of you have that with you, bring your journal now, get a glass of wine, get a cup of coffee, grab a friend, do whatever you need to do. I'm just gonna say hi to people for just a few minutes here till everybody gets on. And if you're watching this later on the video, thank you for joining. Please share this video with anybody that you know could really use these teachings. And as I said before, if you're married or in a long-term relationship, this dating information, at least what I'm going to be talking about here, is really, really important for you too. It's going to open your eyes to a lot of things that are going on, especially if you're in some power struggles or if you're wondering what in the heck's happening. If resentments are coming up over and over, if you're asking yourself, my God, what's happening? Is it just that, we're not compatible or what? So this information, what I really hope, you guys, is that all of you here that are showing up saying, yes, I'm part of this revolutionary love community, which, by the way, thank you. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm so glad you're sharing this with everybody. If you're part of this, you are one of the ones that are saying, I'm committed to, one, doing this different from my end, and two, sharing this with other people that need this information, these skills and these tools. So thank you so much for doing that. Let me just throw these glasses on and say hi to a few people. Hi, Bridget. Hi, Carla. Who else is here? Give me some love. Give me some thumbs up. Give me some hearts. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this on Sunday very often, but this will be really fun to do today and then pass this video on. So, revolutionary love. Hi, Matt. How are you? Hey, Jenny. Okay, so do all of you have that requirements list that you started? Just somebody tell me, like, yes, I worked on it today. Did anybody work on that requirements list? Hey, Jules. Really? Nobody did their homework? No, I'm kidding. Okay, I want to know how far to get into that. So, really quickly, just let me tell you again for any new people here. Hi, Kate. Okay, Kate, you did a little bit of it? Okay, thanks. Wednesday is the normal live stream, 11 a.m. Pacific time. That's when I usually do it. Wednesday, we just had a problem this last Wednesday with Facebook, and so I decided to go ahead and do this from New Mexico here on Sunday. I talked then about jumping into some of the requirements information and maybe getting a little homework started. So let's just all come together here. What I'd really like you to do is make sure you have a journal, a notepad, whatever you need to take some notes. And this is what I want to say about this teaching today. I've been doing this work for 21 years, and I've been living this since I was 16. I made a mess of a lot of things. I've learned the hard way. I've done probably anything you've been through or done, I have, and I'm not joking. So I've learned the hard way. I've learned through the School of Hard Knocks. I've been a coach for 21 years. I have been trained by Louise Hay with all of her metaphysical trainings. I'm a spiritual director. I have a lot of expertise, a lot of experience, and a lot of information. And I said this to you before, I'm not saying that to impress you. I'm saying that because I want you here. I want you grabbing your friends and your family members, and I want you joining me in this group, this revolutionary love group. The tagline is, let's do this different. How many of you want to do this different? Different than what you've been doing, attract different than what you've been attracting, love different than the way that you've been loving, and how would you like to have it be with more ease? Yeah, thumbs up to that for sure. More ease. My core desired feeling, my number one out of my 4 is freedom. When we begin to do this really conscious work, guess what the gift is that we give ourselves first? More ease and a sense of freedom. And you cannot tell me, I know every one of you here cannot tell me, I've seen the names and I know most of you personally, or have worked with you personally, or you've listened to me speak, or you've taken a workshop. You cannot tell me that you don't know the constriction that comes from doing this in a messed up way. From settling when you shouldn't be settling. From not knowing how to attract something healthy. Not dating consciously. Not knowing how to get out of a power struggle. You can't tell me. I know all of you know the pain of this. I know the pain of this. I've lived for years in that kind of pain because I didn't know what the hell I was doing or how to get out or whether to get out. So I'll stop right there on that. This is why it's so important, and this is why I'm so grateful that you're here. I have information to share with you, and I want to pass it on to as many people as I can pass it on to, and I'm counting on you. So will you please take a moment at the end of this, whether you're here live the whole way through or whether you are listening to this as a shared video, will you please take a moment at the end and go, you know what? I know somebody who would love to hear this or needs to hear this, and would you share it with them? Okay? I'm trying to get the message out there that we can do this love thing different. And I'm going to be talking about all things love and intimacy and relationship over the next, I don't know how long. I'm just going to keep doing these videos because you're all saying that it's helpful. Okay? Yay, I know, big heart on that. Okay, so the one thing that I want you to make a note of, if you've got a pen or journal anything right now, I want you to write this down and make a note right now because I want you to go back to it. You're going to get a lot of fluff, a lot of dating advice, relationship advice, intimacy advice from a lot of dating coaches, matchmakers, whatever. And I'm not saying there's not good people out there. There's some really good ones. And there's a ton of really not effective dating coaches, relationship coaches, matchmakers that don't know anything more than the most superficial things that they want to teach you. Hey, first impressions are really important. Wear something cute. Really? Yes, that's true. All of these things are important. But with my years of experience, I want to go over those things with you, and we're going to go over today some of the basics that you're going to have heard or read about in books or whatever. I'm going to lock those in for you and anchor those in. But what I want you to write in your journal and put a star by is mindset changes. Write that. Important mindset changes. Changes in your thinking. Changes in perception. These are the things that I'm going to highlight for you. This is what somebody who is experienced and has been working for 21 years with people all over the world can teach you, the deeper stuff. So every now and then I'm going to say, stop, put a star around this, circle it. I want you to go back this week and look at it. Okay? All right, here's one. Star, stop, get your journal, put a circle around it, put a star around it. Here's how things are going to change in terms of you starting to date, dating better. If you're in a relationship and you're wondering what the hell happened, here's what's going to be different right now, a mindset change. It's going to require that you get radically honest with yourself. That's the number one thing I want you to star. I can talk to you about all kinds of stuff here today. And you can sit and go, yeah, this is great. And you can come up with a big old requirements list and you can make sure that they're point on and that you're going to use it. But you know what? If you've got a deep wound that's still putting protective blocks out there with people, if you're not looking honestly at the levels of emotional maturity that still need to be really raised up, if you can't get radically honest with yourself, this is just going to be another teaching. And you know that because all the people here are people that are smart and bright and have connected with me in some way and my message in some way over these past few years. You are people that know how to be vulnerable. At least you do it with me. You're completely honest with me. And I always say to my clients, oh my God, I so appreciate the honesty because it means that my work gets just amazing and fun with you because we get to play and tell the truth about what's going on. And guess what that means? You get to heal it. You have that opportunity and you get to do this different. And what does that mean? You get to create a different outcome. That's what you want, isn't it? A different outcome? Why would you be here? Okay. So big stars all around that. I'm willing, I agree to get radically honest with myself now as I keep listening to these live streams with Barb and tell myself the truth about what's going on and where I need to grow and make a commitment to really continuing to grow myself up. Okay? This is a fun thing, you guys. There's another mindset change I want you to write down. Personal growth, looking at our wounded places, looking and saying, oh my God, I keep doing that. I keep falling into that controlling behavior. No wonder I have trouble in relationships. No wonder I have trouble dating. No wonder I can't get past the first date. That person didn't enjoy those harsh edges, that controlling behavior of mine. I want you to get curious and interested in it. I don't want you to be hard on yourself. I want you to commit to looking at these areas, writing them down, and starting to work on them and grow these places up. They're just places that in our development that we got stuck. That's all. That's the other mindset change. Oh, I can be curious about this. I can be interested in who I am and how I'm showing up and what's coming up for my attention and for my growth. That's a huge mindset change and one that's going to serve you so well in life. Okay. All right, let's dive into the dating stuff. Okay, here's where we're going to start. When I do this conscious dating workshop, by the way, it's usually over the course of 3 evenings or 1 full day, so I'm going to be racing through this and then we'll take your questions at the end of the month. When I do the conscious dating workshop, we start with, am I ready to date? And I've had 3 of you get a hold of me and say, could you make sure that we talk about, how do I know if I'm ready to date? The first thing that I think is maybe the most important, besides a list of things, I have a relationship readiness quiz. If you want it, email me, I'll send it to you. Besides those kind of black and white things that you can check off, I believe deeply in listening to ourselves and our intuition and sitting quietly and really asking yourself, do I feel like I am ready to date? How do I know that? What does it feel like to me? I mean, you can be nervously scared in a fun way. You know, it kind of makes you nervous. I know when I started to date again a couple years ago, it It made me nervous, but it made me excited too. And that, I think, is the first test. Does it excite you along with maybe feeling a little bit nervous? If it simply puts a knot in your stomach, the answer is no. And then I would say, let's look at why. Let's look at why. It doesn't mean that you couldn't be ready to date very quickly, but let's look at what is the fear that's getting in the way. Okay? So first look at that. First, just really check in with yourself and don't try to convince yourself, and don't listen. This is the time not to listen to your friends or family. Your friends may want the best for you, but a lot of times they think they know that getting back out there, come on, it's been 2 years, is the best thing. And I say, you know best. And the first place to start is, does it feel to me like the message I'm getting, like the guidance I'm getting, is that I'm ready? Then we look at these other things. And they're things like, do I know who I am and what I want? And I'm going to talk a little more about that. Do I have any legal issues or financial issues that really need to be cleaned up before I start dating? You know, you might ask, well, what the hell does that have to do with dating? It has a lot. Dating costs some money. If you have legal issues, like you're in the middle of still trying to finalize a divorce, or you're in a separation or that kind of thing, it's going to work against the dating process, trust me. There's all kinds of things. How's your health? It doesn't mean that you can't date if you have a health issue, but just like you heard me say, dating takes time, energy, intention. If you have anything big going on right now, you probably don't need to add anything else onto your plate, correct? So if you've just got a health diagnosis and you've got, some processes you need to go through, or whatever it's going on. I mean, it may be that you just simply want to get in better shape, lose some weight, that kind of thing. That's lovely. That doesn't have to happen before you date. But if you have no energy and you really need to get in a better health, yeah, that actually might be something to do before you date. You want to be your best self, and you want to have a lot of energy, and you want to be fully present with someone. And so I want you to do these things for yourself anyway. If you think you're ready to date, possibly meet somebody, and if you're one of those dating to want to meet somebody to have a long-term partner or even possibly a marriage, don't you want all your foundational pieces in place? And I don't mean you have to go through a checklist and every single thing has to be perfect in your life. I don't mean that at all. But don't you want to spend time right now, if you think, boy, I think I'm really ready to date, don't you want to go through that list and really look at that, what I call that whole, that pie of your life, that we look at and see if everything is in balance. Don't you want to look at that whole thing and say, in general, how am I doing in my life? Because when I'm going on dates and meeting people, I'm going to be sharing my life. I'm going to be talking about, what do I do that's interesting? If I have horrible family relationships, and note, okay, you can write this down in your journal, star by it. Your family relationships don't have to be high functioning. You can have people in your life that maybe are not in your life currently because of addiction, or there's really issues of dysfunction between family members or between you and a family member. It doesn't mean that you can't date. It means that you better have figured out how, what am I trying to say? How to be able to set boundaries and have those relationships that are not working well, that are dysfunctional, that are or that are not in your life right now, not be affecting your life. You know this because how many people have gone out on dates with somebody and maybe they're 4 dates in and they're thinking, oh my God, this is so great. And all of a sudden you go out to dinner with that person and they're just off on a tear about some craziness that's going on with the family member and how that person showed up on their doorstep last night, drunk and this and that, and they didn't know what to do and they couldn't say no because they took them in. No, we don't want any of that going on. You need to be able to set boundaries, look at all of your relationships right now, family and friends, and make sure that either you've set boundaries and that they're clear and enforced and that you can do that, or that they're high functioning. If you have people that shouldn't be in your life, let's look at that first before we start dating, okay? All right. So we can go through a list like that. The most important one, as I said, is when you sit quietly and access your wisdom, what are you hearing about you being ready to date? If you get down to, okay, I think I am, and one of those things at the bottom of that am I ready list is, do I actually have real live dating skills? Do I actually have relationship readiness skills? Do I know what I'm doing out there? Do I have a solid foundation in place where I know how to set boundaries with people? That one right there. You've heard me talk in earlier live streams about personal foundation needs to be in place so that you have a personal honor code that you hold yourself to, that you know how to set boundaries and can swiftly do that with people, anyone. Okay, so that you're not showing up in a very caretaking, codependent way. That's a killer for dating. And that you're not hooked to the need for other people's approval and validation. Okay. All right. So we're going to look at that first. If you get down to that, and stay here because I'm going to give you these dating skills. That's going to help you cross that one off your list. If you get to the point where you go, yeah, I think I really am ready. I think I'm ready. I've got enough of these in place. I feel like I have time and energy to give to dating. Great. Then we move on to number 2. Okay? I want you to write this down too. I'm going to challenge you to make a clear decision about what kind of dating that you're ready for. Casual dating or dating because you want to find a long-term committed relationship or a marriage. Okay? When I say casual dating, please, I usually have somebody raise their hand in a workshop and go like, you mean casual sex? We're not talking about sex. We're going to talk about this in the next couple of weeks because I've had so many of you get a hold of me and say, can we please talk about sex, especially if we're single? Yes, we will. We're not going to talk about that here today, so stay tuned. Casual dating means that you're sitting right here, and when you say, I think I'm really ready to date, and I've gone through this checklist, and I've checked in with myself, and I get a thumbs up on that. And I decide whether I'm ready to date casually or really to meet somebody and be with somebody long term. I'm basing that on what I'm truly ready for. And casual dating means I am absolutely not ready to be in a committed, exclusive relationship with someone. What might be the times that you would really just be ready to casually date? Well, some people just only want to casually date for the rest of their lives. There's nothing wrong with that, you guys. You know, people say, but don't they have commitment problems or intimacy problems? And what they're really saying is, wink, wink, isn't that a guy thing? No, it's not. Some people truly do not want to be in a long-term, committed, exclusive relationship with someone. What they do love is meeting new people, going on dates, having fun. Sometimes it includes sex, sometimes it doesn't. There always needs to be clarity there. But here's where a lot of people fall into that category of casual dating. I think casual dating's a great thing to do for a while when you are maybe, I don't even know if I would say separated, maybe separated, at least well on your way into a divorce, and maybe you've got a waiting period or something like that going on where you know that this marriage is over. It's been quite a while. Maybe you were separated for a lot of years. You would love to finally be able to do something like put on something cute and go out for a nice dinner with somebody, a man, a woman, whoever. But you know that the last thing that you want right now is actually to be in a committed relationship or moving in that direction or thinking at all about sex or whatever it is that you're worried about. Casual dating can be such a nice thing to do when you're in a place where like that. you're just come off a divorce or you're just finishing up one. Maybe you've just started a business. If for any of you that are entrepreneurs or have just started in a new business and you know what that first year or two looks like how much time and energy starting a new business really takes. I'm not saying you can't date then, but a lot of people tell me that that's the time that they just want to casually date because they're giving so much of themselves to this new business that they really don't have time to meet somebody, or move into a serious relationship. But they do want to have fun. So they'll go out on a date with someone, have a great time, enjoy their company, maybe even see them again. But you have to be crystal clear, and this is what most people don't like me saying. And I usually, when I give this workshop, somebody wants to argue with me about this. And I mean argue. Like, Barb, I disagree. I really think, okay, you can disagree. It's fine. You can disagree about anything here. I'm going to pull the expert card and say, trust me here. When you don't tell someone right out of the gates what kind of dating that you're doing, right there, you're confusing the issue. And you could be wasting time because casual daters should not be dating people that are looking for a long-term committed relationship. Do you get it? Or vice versa? Do you see the problem that you're setting up right away? If we've got this person who is only wanting just a casual dating experience, and we've got somebody who is absolutely looking for a relationship that could turn into something beautiful, but we don't state this, we don't tell the truth about what kind of dating we're doing, you could waste so much time, have there be chemistry and what you think is a good fit and fun and your requirements are being met, and then 6 weeks down the road, find out the hard way, oh my God, you were never looking for a relationship at all? I wish I would have known that from the beginning. Oh, you mean you're only casually dating? I would have weeded you out early on. Okay, and I get people that say to me, oh, but Barb, I just want to date and just be friends and see if it turns into something. Okay, I just explained that. Do you see what happens when you don't state from the beginning what kind of dating you're doing? And you put it under that heading of, well, we're just going to date and see if we can be friends, and if it turns into something, do you see the problems that could create? The misunderstandings, the assumptions? By the way, that's not what happens. You don't just start out as friends and then it kind of turns into something. You know that. Any of you that have been dating know that when you sit down across from somebody, you're looking right then thinking, wow, am I feeling some kind of chemistry? I'm going to start using my requirements to have conversations. Is this person meeting these requirements? Do I want to continue with another date? Why would you want to continue with another date if you're going to pretend that it's just a friendship? Okay, I'm going to really stress this one is important. And people say to me, well, do you mean I actually need to say that? Like if I'm on Match.com, do I actually need to state on there that I'm looking for a long-term relationship? Yes. Yes. And then people say to me, but that might scare some people away. Yes, exactly. Isn't that a perfect way to have them screen themselves out without you ever have to do any work? This isn't where you're trying to play a game of how many people could be interested in me. This is where you're trying to have them weed themselves out, and then you sort and screen with your requirements to try to help you get to the person who could really, really be a great fit for you, could really, really be a great partner for you, could turn in like it was for me to finding the love of your life. I want that for you if that's what you want for you. And so that means you don't waste precious time. You're clear. You're absolutely clear. So yes, you do say that. You can put it on your profile if that's what you're doing, or in the first phone conversation before you decide to have a coffee date, or the first coffee date. I always say sooner than better. You say right away. So I'm just curious, casual conversation. What kind of dating are you doing? And then you share first. So because the person will be like, I don't know what you're talking about, because most people don't know anything about this kind of thing. You say, what kind of dating are you doing? I right now at this point in my life, because my divorce just was final 2 weeks ago, I am actually just looking to casually date. And that doesn't mean casual sex, and you can just laugh. You can say, I'm just looking to casually date. And what that means is, even if I've met the most wonderful person in the world, I'm really not ready to be in a relationship or to spend that kind of time, and I don't have that intention. I'm really just looking to have some nice company and have some fun. You're that clear. You say it just like that. Or the opposite. You talk about, I'm in this place. I've been single for a while. I've been doing a lot of work on myself. I'm excited. I'm a little scared. But I actually am really looking for somebody who could be a partner, who could be a long-term partner. I'm actually interested in possibly being married again. Yes, you're that clear. And that right there should be on your requirements list. And if that's on your requirements list, let's say you're looking for a long-term relationship, and that's on your requirements list, and you share that over your first sip of coffee, and someone across from you goes, well, I'm not looking for that. I'm just, and they pull I'm just looking to be friends and see where it goes, or that kind of thing. You can say, oh, great. So that's really good to know, because I wouldn't want either one of us to waste our time here if we're looking for different things. And I wish you well. Wow. Now, do you understand why I say part of what is part of your relationship readiness questionnaire has to be, do I have these foundational pieces in place? Because if you aren't able to set boundaries or speak that clearly and with kindness, no harsh edges, no protection, no armor, just honesty and warmth and transparency, if you can't do that, this is not going to work for you. Dating is never going to come with ease then. Never. Okay. So we've talked about how do you know if you're ready? We've talked about you need to decide what kind of dating you're ready for. Casual dating or dating for a long-term relationship. To meet somebody and really be in a relationship. And that's what we're talking about today. Dating is not a relationship. So I talked about that last Wednesday. Let me just go over that just a little bit. Let me take a little drink here. Dating is this period where you're assessing, where you're doing all these things that we're talking about. Dating is not a relationship. It's the period that you're spending to sort, screen, assess, meet people, use your requirements to screen people out. It's that period that you're using to see if there's even a possibility of there being able to be a long-term relationship, whether there's chemistry and a good fit. But most important, you guys should be able to all answer this right now. If you listened to last Wednesday, you should be able to answer this. But most important, the dating period is the period that you're using to sort and screen and find out whether somebody truly could be a great partner and a great fit for you using what? Come on, somebody tell me if you're on here. Using what? What are we using? What are we using to sort and screen? They're not going to tell me. You're not going to tell me? If you keep watching these live streams, you're going to be able to raise your hands, man, and send thumbs up and answer these questions, and I'm so excited. Only your requirements. Yes, thank you. Who said that? I have to say yay. Yay, Bren. Yay, Bren. She's worked with me and she knows. Yay, Lauren. Yay, Lauren. Okay, you guys, my clients know what the hell they're talking about. I'm going to stop right here. If any of you want my 8-week package and you want to work with me so that you've got the answers to these questions, yeah, when we're done here, you get a hold of me. You work with me for 8 weeks and you are going to be a master at this. Lauren, nice. Bren, yay. Okay, only your requirements. Only your requirements. Okay, let's talk really quickly about those requirements, and then I'm going to have one of those things I want you to write down again. A big, big star one. And Lauren, you and I just talked about this. Okay, your requirements are not the wants. Oh, it would be so awesome if, she had blonde, pretty long hair. Okay, that's great. You can have that want. I don't care. That's fun. Whatever. Needs. Wow. I have a need that, what? Somebody might have a need that somebody be fairly timely, that they're not somebody who runs late constantly or whatever. Some people might have that as a requirement. But wants are fun. I sure don't want you sorting and screening through great people with your wants. Needs, we can get our needs met. Needs, write this down. Write it down. Needs will show up as issues. Okay? Needs will show up as an issue that comes up between the two of you. And then that issue can be worked out, can be negotiated. Like, let's take the timely one. Okay, somebody's always a few minutes late, whatever, okay? It would be probably more a need that you have. And what you could do then is say, look, here's my need. I really like to be timely. When we're going to meet at a movie, I want to go in. I want to see the previews, whatever. So here's our deal. Here's the issue. Here's how we'll work it out. We'll show up. And if I'm there waiting for you and the movie's going to start, I'm going to go ahead and go in and I'll just meet you inside. I don't need to be resentful. I don't need to be angry. I'm going to go and enjoy myself, and you can sit down next to me as soon as you get there. That's a need, and that's how those get worked out. Requirements are deal breakers, non-negotiables. They're what you absolutely require of someone to be able to be in a long-term, healthy, conscious relationship with them. Okay? When you work on this list, just do a mind dump. There might be 30 things on there. They'll probably come out negatively, okay? They'll probably come out as, I'm never again going to do this. I never want this again. That's fine. If you do a dump like that, that's okay. And I think Bryn's got a question. I'm going to stop here right in the middle, and I want to see if she's got a question that would be good for me to add into right here. Bryn, let's see. Just as in engineering, we need to make data-driven decisions. The way to do that, clarify requirements, what the assessment methods are, and analyze the results. Boom, there you go, Bryn, right? Thank you. That's exactly right. Bryn, thank you for sharing that, because while most people, when I teach this, get really excited about these requirements because they can tell right away that that's been the problem, that's been the missing element here, I do get, and I got to tell you this, I hate to say it. It's only been women. I have never had a man balk at this. I do at times get some women that go, oh, that sounds kind of harsh. I don't think I want to have requirements where I have to say, he or she has to be this or that. That sounds kind of harsh. I think I just want to see how it flows. Okay, Bryn, back to what Bryn was just saying. I always like to use this. If you were looking for a new job and you went on a job interview, wouldn't you have spent time, at least I hope, figuring out what kind of job am I looking for? What am I really good at? What do I love doing? What companies out there am I really attracted to? What do I need to know? What do I need to learn from them? Wouldn't you do all of that work and absolutely know what your ideal position would be? Wouldn't you do that? And isn't it crazy town that we don't do this when we're talking about love or dating or looking for a partner? Madness to me, just madness. And I say that because up until 30-some, I did the same damn thing. It was whoever I had chemistry with that day, or whoever I was in lust with that night, or whoever was totally into me and wanted to keep dating me. Can any of you relate to that? I mean, I had nothing. I had a big whopping 0 in my requirements box. I didn't even know what that meant. Yes, we absolutely need to spend time on this, okay? So our requirements are the things you do that dump. And then you go back and you look at them and you make a list in the affirmative. So not, I'm never going to be with a liar again. You're going to then write it. What is your requirement then? What's the deal breaker for you? It may say, I require that a partner be absolutely honest at all times, regardless of the perceived consequences. Meaning, even if you think you're going to get in trouble, that you have the emotional maturity, that if you've done something or something's happened, that you tell the full truth about it. Okay, I don't know. That may be a requirement of yours. It may not. It was of mine. You want to think about categories like this. Addictions. Okay, you'd be surprised. Some people are saying, you know what, if somebody's a problem drinker, I don't know, that's not a problem for me. Maybe you're a problem drinker. I don't know. Requirements around addictions. Here's one that a lot of people waffle on. They forget that nicotine can be an addiction. What about cigarette smoking? Okay, so think about addictions. Think about finances. Really think about what you're saying a deal breaker is. People have a tendency to say, he has to have a really high-paying job. Really? Your requirement is this person has to have a high-paying job. Well, first of all, what does high-paying mean? Why does he have to have a high-paying job? What if he makes enough to be financially comfortable? Would you prefer that he's financially stable? What if he makes tons of money and has a high-paying job and racks everything up on credit cards to the tune of right now he's $100,000 in debt, but he does have a high-paying job? See where I'm going with this? This is where people go, oh, I didn't know what you meant by that. I want you to think about absolute deal breakers. In other words, you're dating somebody that you're so far like, oh my God, she's so amazing, he's so great. So far we have some great connection. Wow, some of these requirements are really met. And then there's this one. Are you going to honor what your requirement is and not have another date with this person? Okay, that's a deal breaker. That means that's a deal breaker. So you can see that. This is how we test your requirements. You go through your list, you fine-tune them, you boil them down. It should not be a list this long. There should probably, most of my clients, when they do a requirements list, have maybe, I don't know, like an average of maybe 10 things on the list or something. Many of them around communication, so I want you to think about that. This is not how you write a requirement around communication, okay? You don't say, has to be a good communicator. That's what most of my clients start out with. Has to be a good communicator. Okay, again, what am I going to say, you guys? What does that mean? A good communicator is different for me than it is for you, isn't it? Depends on who we are and where we're at. What do you mean by a good communicator? So when I had my requirements fleshed out, I knew that I was at the point in my life where I absolutely would walk away from any guy if I was on a second date thinking, oh my God, this is a great guy. If I found out through conversation, because they're using requirements, or sorting and screening, or just spending enough time where I'd notice somebody, if I find out that this person really did not have the ability to show up in a mature way around what you would call hard conversations, that was it for me. In other words, one of the things that was most attracted to me about Brian was that regardless of whether it was something small, just something, that we were going to figure out together, where should we go this weekend or something like that, or whether it was really something uncomfortable that had come up, that maybe one of us, somebody didn't like what was said, a tone or something that was said. My requirement of myself, personal standard that I hold myself to and that I require of somebody that was going to be in a partnership with me, does he have the wherewithal to be able to step up to the plate and communicate his feelings an issue he had, something that bothered him, to tell the truth, to speak up, to do it kindly, always with kindness but directness. To not beat around the bush, to not do some little dance where I was supposed to be like, is something wrong? Is something bothering you? Okay, that kind of stuff I had done in a marriage before, never was going to do it again. And so the way that requirement was written, I'm not looking at it right now, but was something around, I require a high level of emotional maturity around being able to deal and communicate in a healthy way around any uncomfortable situation. It can be anything like that, you guys. Here's what'll help flesh out your requirements. Look back at the reasons that you broke up before. Those will be reasons that requirements were not met. And then here's, like I think I said this last Wednesday, here's the ouchy part. You'll also see why you broke up, because you didn't meet probably that partner's requirements. Like it's not just that we're sitting here sorting and screening. Other people are doing that with us too. So if you look at a breakup, if you look at why a relationship ended, if it didn't last, if there were problems, the things that you kept arguing about, those looping conversations, look and see, was it an actual deal breaker that was not being met, that you kept trying to negotiate or settle around? I'm telling you, if a requirement is not met and you ignore it, okay, a star, write this one down, star. If a requirement is not met and you don't have the nerve to set boundaries and end this, because everything else is so great and you really were hoping this was going to be wonderful and you're so disappointed and you don't want to let this person go. I did this more than once when I was younger. If you close your eyes or turn your head away from that deal breaker and decide, I guess I'll be okay with this because everything else is there, oh my God. The relationship will always end up ending. Unless you just decide to stay in a really bad relationship where your requirements aren't met and this person is continually lying to you, you could stay in the marriage. Do you get what I'm saying? Does this make sense to you? This is why I want you to be the type of person that early on in the dating process only uses your requirements to sort and screen. And then if you come up against a non-negotiable that's not met, I want you to tear that Band-Aid off fast and get the hell out. And I'm going to come back later and say, not I told you so when you don't do it, but I'm going to say, I am so sorry. Because it's painful, isn't it? Because it doesn't go away. And you need to do it. I have 2 clients facing this right now. It's like, you want to do it today, or do you want to do it next week? Or do you want to do it next year? It's your call. But if it's a deal breaker, it's a deal breaker. And it's not going to go away. Okay? Requirements are black and white. They're pretty black and white. They're not something where somebody's like, oh, I'll change that. Those are wants and needs where you're negotiating things. Requirements, deal breakers, non-negotiables, those are just pretty black and white. They're either met or they're not. People can try to pretend that they're going to be what you want them to be, but you know what? It's not going to work out. Okay. So that's why it's so important to really listen to yourself, flush out those requirements, and then do the test. Do it with a friend. This is super fun work to do with a friend. Boil your relationship requirements down. Make sure that you think they really, really are the ones that you're going to sort and screen with. And then do the test. Do that test where you picture the most amazing person in the whole world and you get all into that feeling tone of how perfect this person is and how excited you are and all these 6 things they do so beautifully and everything. And then go, but they, and then pull out something on your requirements list. But they're constantly in financial debt. that they constantly aren't stable financially and put things on credit cards and don't have the money and, can't show up or whatever it is. You know what one of mine was, you guys? One of mine in these last years of my life, the last like 10, 15 years for me was, had gone from a need to a requirement. Someone who was generous. I dated somebody who was the nicest, coolest guy in the world, and he was so tight and so stingy, and it wasn't just around money. I mean, we're talking about burgers. It wasn't just around money. It was around sharing things. It was such a deep fear for him. And he had a lot of money. He was a lawyer, had a great income. It was something old for him. But that lack of generosity, even just of spirit, of not really wanting to give much of his time or his money, it was unbearable for me. I couldn't stand to be around it. This guy was great. He was great. And I just said, no more, no more. So there'll be all kinds of interesting things. Health, think about what requirements you have there and watch again. We're not just having you write like, oh, the perfect person in the whole world. People will write, especially again, well, no, that's not true. Women will write it like this. He has to be in really great shape and blah, blah, blah. And then this woman maybe isn't in great shape or not healthy. Men will write things like, oh, she has to be, well, I won't even say what they write. And I'll be like, really? Come on. She has to be 15 years younger than you? Is that true? I think we have other things to talk about if that's a requirement. Okay, put your pens down now. I know we're running close to an hour. Put your pens down, take a deep breath with me. All of this is great, and all of this is such important information. I want you to go back and listen to this again, and I want you to do this work. Now, here's the most important thing. I work with people that do this as superficial work. Okay, Barb, I got my requirements list. Okay, I've gone through my relationship readiness quiz. I think I'm ready. Do all of this in a fairly superficial way, and you'll be able to find teleclasses, books, Cosmopolitan magazine articles, everything you want that'll help send you out there and say, go, go, go. And I'm going to tell you what, I still hear from people, 4 of you got a hold of me this week, that I know, and I know the work you're doing, I know the work we've done together, and I know you're still having some problems, and you're asking me why. 3 out of 4 of you, they're protection problems. Okay, here's what I'm saying that I want you to write down. All of this is great. All of this work is great. But unless you do what I said in the first 5 minutes of this live stream, unless you commit to radical honesty with yourself, and always great to do that with somebody else too, to get somebody in that loop that you're sharing with and telling the truth to. Unless you do that and sit and look at where in my emotional landscape, where do I still have levels of emotional immaturity? I'm not afraid to say that. I'm happy to flush these areas out. I'm excited to get to work on them. And pick at least one. One that you know deep down inside is affecting your dating, your readiness to date, or your ability, ready for this one, guys? To trust. To trust, which requires an open heart and vulnerability. You'll be doing these exercises forever. And it will never result in easeful dating, in a sense of freedom when you're out on a date and having fun, in a long-term relationship, in a marriage. It will never result in that. You can grab somebody and decide to go off, sailing off to sea with them, but you'll be right back here with that thing having ended. The way that it works, the way it worked for me, the way it works with my clients, if you have not been having success dating or in a relationship, there's one or two areas in which you need to grow. Those obstacles will show up for you. Take heed. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed. Oh my God, if you knew the stupid crap I've done. Don't be embarrassed. Be proactive. Write them down. Tell them out loud to a friend. I'm big on the spoken word. Say it out loud. I have a problem with controlling behavior still. I have a problem with not telling the truth about everything. I have a problem with judging people too much. I have a problem with sitting down across from a guy and I'm already judging everything about him. No wonder he doesn't want to go on a second date with me. I have a problem with harsh edges, all because of my internal fear. I have a problem with jealousy. I have a problem with what? What's yours? What's yours? I have a problem with settling. Okay? But here's what we want to do. We want to do this work and we want to work on our requirements and we want to keep everything outside of us. It's that I haven't found the right person out there. It's that I haven't known how to work with the law of attraction and attract the right person to me. All of those things can be true, my friends. I'll tell you what's going to create change the quickest for you. Radical honesty. And working to raise your levels of emotional maturity. Specifically targeted at an area or two in you that you know continue to add a block to dating or to relating or to a relationship being able to flourish and last and keep growing. If you're one of those who you can date for 3 months and then boom, it blows up out of your continued resentments and judgments that you fall into, or because, gosh, you know, the newness is worn off and I'm looking for that high or whatever, those are things you get to work on. Woo! They're not about that other person. And I want you to work on them or hire me and work on them with me so that we can get you past that block. I don't want you to just do these exercises. I want you to do these exercises and share them with your friends and have fun and grow and get brutally honest with yourself about what areas need to grow and change so that you can be the love right here all the time, regardless of whether you're in a relationship, and feel open-hearted and let the constriction go, let the tension go, be willing and able to trust with ease because you have boundaries and you know that if something really does cross a line for you, you can tell somebody to stop. Because you have personal honor code that you follow every day. And so life is good. That's what I want for all of you. So that's what I hope you get out of this today. Yes, these exercises, everything else, absolutely. But what I really want you to get out of this is, wow, there's a couple of new mindsets that I'm going to take away from what Barb said today. I'm going to remember if I'm single that dating isn't a relationship. It's me actually figuring out what I need and want, doing my own personal growth work, committing to that, and then moving out into the world, you know, with love and ease and continually focusing on myself. It's me having the mindset that this is about me continually looking at where I can grow so that I can be the best person I can be out there in every interaction that I'm having with people, so that I'm creating meaningful connection with everyone that I meet, regardless of whether I'm dating or not. I want to be that kind of man. I want to be that kind of woman. That mindset. That you're changing your thinking and saying to yourself, you know, how I show up in the man or woman that I want to be and the attitude that I have in the world in general is the most important thing that I can do right now. And that's the most important work that will help add to my dating success, my happiness, my stability, my calmness, my being a loving presence. Yay. That's what I want you to think about. Okay? All right. If you know it's time to work with me, get a hold of me. Go to my website, revolutionarylove.com. You've got my blog on there that you've got a million great blogs that you can read through. You've got the Work With Me page. It'll give you my rates. I coach with people for a full year, a half a year, or an 8-week package. Let's do this. Let's do this together for 8 weeks. I've only got a couple of slots left. If you haven't signed up for my newsletter, go onto revolutionarylove.com. Click here. You'll get my newsletter. It'll start giving you all of the dates for everything going on. You'll also get a free copy of my little ebook, Love, Sex, and the Spiritual Path. So that's fun. And join me here every Wednesday. It's usually Wednesday. Happy Sunday to all of you. Wednesday is when I do the live stream, 11 Pacific. And we'll see you this next Wednesday. If you have any questions, barb@coachbeck.com. But if you have some really, really great questions that you know that everybody else would benefit from hearing, don't send me a private email. Join me the last Wednesday of the month when I do the Revolutionary Love Q&A. And I just sit here and I just open it up to all your questions and write those questions down right now that you have and bring them, okay? There's no private good here. Everybody needs to hear what you're going through and what you're struggling with. You guys benefit when I tell you what I've gone through and what I've struggled with. I'm here to just serve you guys, man. I'm here to just give you as much information as I can give you and answer your questions. So many blessings to you. Have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. I so deeply appreciate that you're here. Please, at the end of this, please take a moment to share this with somebody else. Love you. Bye.